check the audio. What is happening, people? Now, as always, a little bit behind, but just stay with me whilst I share this. I'm going to have a look at some previous narratives. So, what do I mean by that? I guess people can, if they want to or not, go back and have a look what took place the other days and then sort of what followed on from that. Because sometimes, not always, you're able to see a particular talking point and kind of where it came from. And over time, if you have a brief memory of any sort, you're able to go back and have a look at what it is you are looking at. Now, for some reason, my YouTube is like glitching out pretty hard. Audio is good. It's coming through. Very good. And then the next one is Twitter. I keep calling it Twitter. X. Elon's X. So who has the name? No, Twitter. Okay. Now, I'll just briefly check. This is actually going live. Should be. I'll give it a little tweet out. Where is it? Here. Just bear with me, people. No? Doesn't want to play? Okay. Do. Does not want to load. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Under review, apparently, because I took some flags off. Low. All right, good. Here we go. Here we go. Mic check. I can't stand the sound of my voice. Oh my god. The other day, I came to the realization. Someone put it here. I act like everyone, but if I go somewhere else, I'll look like everyone, but I won't act like everyone. Now, which one would you rather live in? I'm not so sure anymore. Because maybe, just maybe, another story. Now, I'm not sure where the views are coming from because I can't see nothing. But thank you for anyone who is here. If you're actually from YouTube or X, I can't tell. I can't tell. I have no idea. I'll try and figure it out, eh? But while I get this all sorted out, the analysis of the stream about yesterday's news, which leads into today's news to see what is coming potentially. Maybe that's what we're going to call it. The breakdown of yesterday's news and then the comparison of yesterday's news to today's news to see what trend is forming, and then maybe, just maybe, we might be able to predict with some accuracy or provide some at least useful, thoughts about what could be coming next. If my YouTube would actually load and I could figure out where these eyes are coming from. Now, I'm not sure if this is impressions. There we go. Okay, so we got five on X and one on YouTube. Very good. All right, cool. So I don't need to worry about that. Except for maybe chat. Let me do the test. All right, so that goes out through to both. Okay. All right, sound good. Comments good. Figuring out where the views are coming from, also good. Thank you to the 5 viewers. Possibly one is my only count. And yesterday, basically, yesterday, right, we had sudden Fed financial crisis, fear sparks huge Bitcoin and crypto price crash. Now, that was brought about, reportedly, by DeepSeek and its wonderful, amazing, open source AI project, which is to be fair, it's kind of cool because now people can, use it and people can benefit from it if they want to. They can understand how it works. They can submit proposals potentially to their project or whatever their DAO system works. And it's performing better than. And now stay with me. I'm getting to a point here. It's performing better than the video, and better than the video. It's performing better than the ones that aren't open source, and it's performing in a way that has spooked the markets because everyone was so sure that they knew everything about AI, except for the fact that maybe they didn't understand if someone built something better than their price forecast for chip manufacturers might be out by a little bit. Excuse me. Now, what am I trying to say? So this was yesterday or the day before. I am losing track of time. No, 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Time flies when you're having fun. Sudden Fed financial crisis, fear sparks huge Bitcoin and crypto price crash prediction. And so that's separate. And crypto price crash prediction. So this is the inception. This is them planting the seed of doubt into cryptocurrency for whatever reason via this particular media outlet, which in my opinion is what they're doing. And what they're trying to say is, well, they tried to tie, in my opinion, whether wrongfully or rightly so. My interpretation is, if you read this, you might have thought that the sell-off of the stocks in the US that are tied to the technology sector was affected by or was brought about because AI, which was designed in China by a small company and released to the world open source, performed a lot better with lesser tech, and therefore the forecast for all these mad gains for the tech chip sector in the US tech companies may have been a little overstated only because, mind you, the Chinese Communist Party or the people under them or working for them released this basically as a shot at the US, I would say, in some sort of AI arms race, basically pointing out we can do this better. Now, the next thing we have is, again, thank you, 9 of you, 11 of you, and 1 on YouTube. Stay with me. So what I'm saying is that's what took place, supposedly. And then what took place was crypto seemed to fall at the same time. As I said before, it felt like people were investing in cryptocurrency or selling, taking profits, basically because they were treating it almost like a tech stock. Like, I don't understand how that makes sense unless they're applying the mindset of, or unless they're using certain indicators or little black boxes on there, like BlackRock's Aladdin, and it's pointing out that maybe it's time to sell or something like that. I don't fully understand how that relates. Like, how does the DeepSeek app directly affect Bitcoin, for example? I guess you could argue, oh, well, there's going to be more chips available because they're making all the chips. And I'm like struggling to come up with something here, but I'm saying maybe they have all these chips now and they're not going to be able to sell as many because people have figured out a cheaper, more efficient way to develop their AI. And so somehow, the chips are going to be gobbled up by Bitcoin mining or something, or Ethereum mining, or I'm not sure they still do that anymore. But like cryptocurrency is going to somehow use all the chips. Like, explain that to me. So can someone explain that to me? Because I'm not understanding that logic at all. But for whatever reason, the market seemed to believe it, and the narrative, always with the talking point of the day, the Operation Mockingbird media, potentially not all of it, but just some aspects of it, because sometimes it is correct. Like, it literally points out news and it literally points out facts. So we all did see the price go down of crypto at the same time the price went down of tech stocks, and we saw the DeepSeek app being released because, well, not because, but it was able to then do things that the other companies couldn't do, which weren't open source. Just that's another side issue. So then we have that, and embedded in this headline is like, and crypto price crash prediction. Okay, so the crypto price crash prediction, I am supposed to believe, is going to be brought about by, yes, what? Scroll down. Someone called for a 70 to 75,000 K correction in Bitcoin and a mini financial crisis. Okay, so I'm hearing things about financial crisis. Okay, cool. So maybe they're going to tie the pullback of the financial sector, the entire financial sector. I'm not sure if there's going to be any that's going to be protected by this, but like precious metals or something, I don't know. But if there is a mini financial crisis or a large financial crisis, they're pointing out that maybe when that takes place, everyone's going to act in the same way that we saw with the DeepSeek app being released and affecting the tech stock in the US, affecting, I guess, the video. We can say that because that's reported everywhere. And then maybe the correlation, or maybe they think that in the future, when the mini financial crisis occurs, it's going to do the same thing. Now, I'm not sure whether or not I actually believe that 100%, because to me, it sounds more like there's a lot of, again, thank you for more people who are either visiting or just watching casually. If, for instance, we saw this mini crash, and then we saw crypto go down as well, and then there's another mini crash, the assumption is maybe it'll follow suit. The history never is quite the same, but it rhymes. I don't fully understand who was selling. Like, I didn't check on chain who was selling across the board when this news was released and announced, but I can't help but feel like it was more institutional type investors who are following certain playbooks. And that, I guess, is my not issue with cryptocurrency becoming more mainstream in terms of being covered by some people I've never heard of, but apparently have been around for a while, and just even down to retail everyday investors all of a sudden sort of wanting to learn about cryptocurrency. They think this is the best way to learn about cryptocurrency, is to, if it appears on this article here, or if it appears on like the Wall Street Journal. As the other day I was going through some articles, I'm like, can't believe I'm using this website. It's been ages since I've visited it. And then we see the same sort of thing that generally takes place. I'm not saying all of the equities market is like what's the word, rigged against everyone, but when you see actual like talking points, and then the talking points or the facts that people are analyzing, saying there's going to be this shortage, it's going to cause the price to go up, and then it comes true, you could say, well, that was a narrative. It's like, yeah, but maybe they were just analyzing it and their forecasts were correct. So there's a fine line between actual data points and actual not conspiracy theories as such, but sort of talking point narratives, and then they become the truth because everyone believes it into existence. Now, what I'm saying is, I saw this article, I saw all of it take place, as you may have all seen, and then we saw this price come out of nowhere saying, someone said XYZ, and then we have a game of not Chinese whispers as such, but I guess reputable, an individual who is within some has some sort of microphone to speak to. People have heard this and gone, oh, is this going to happen? Like, you've all seen that little meme where it's literally Chinese whispers and buy, sell. I don't have that here, but I'll find that and bring it up one day. Now, this article sorry, this tweet here, this X post here, was the initial one saying, I think from, does it have the date here, timestamps? Share this one. Basically saying that, 27th of Jan, we saw the correction. They didn't use log though. Reversing the order of my topic. Ugly will be published tomorrow morning. I call for, so this individual called for 70k to 75k correction in BTC, a mini financial crisis and a resumption of money printing that will send us to 250k by the end of the year. Okay. So that seems to be tied to potentially some sort of the FOMC meeting and the rates and quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, whatever's going to take place. I don't know. But then we see after that sort of saying, but then we'll see us go up to 250k by the end of the year. I can't help but think that is a pretty good price, 250k Bitcoin in US dollars. Oh my god! Can you imagine what that's going to do to the altcoins after that cycle, that particular price? Now, so that is, that's the X post that was now covered in like mainstream sort of articles, news outlets, websites, and then the talking point seeped its way in at the time when there was all this artificial intelligence news about DeepSeek and the performance of certain companies like Nvidia that produce chips that was supposed to be the backbone of AI and its performance. Like, it was supposed to be the better the chip, the better the AI. Then the new narrative was incepted into the entire planet. You can read English, I would say, as well. That someone like the Chinese basically said, we can do AI better than you. And it spooked the entire market because it was around the time when there was lots of talk about investing in AI and being at the forefront of AI and having all their shit locked down and tied as airtight. And then they found a leak because they didn't figure out that a small company that produced some AI can do it better, and they open sourced it. So people it's like proof in the pudding, like this is better, like actually better. I think I looked at it the other day. There was an X thread. Again, I don't understand it. But they pointed out some reasonable facts. And from my research, very basic research, mind you, and I don't know if you can even test it or verify it, but my understanding from what I've seen so far, some things that to do with, I guess, social interaction, it is actually the answers are more thorough. It goes to a range of, if you ask it one question, what could happen, it almost asks itself questions, addresses that logic, then addresses the question. But the other ones didn't seem to do that as well. They would go straight to the point, which is fine. But then you could insert but this would happen, and then it would go back and sort of rethink its initial answer. Whereas the other one actually goes through all the things and questions you might ask to itself, like prints it out, and then goes through. So it's a bit deeper, like deep seek possibly. Now, I hope that made some sense. It made sense to me. I'm not sure how I can use this for any, gain or whatever, but it's just interesting to point out that if you blindly follow a one particular news outlet and they just point out this and you think it's going to happen, but then I'm changing thought mid sentence here. Like, then you pull right back and think about it. If when you're having social interactions with somebody and you don't know what's going to happen in the future, I mean, you can guess, kind of. You can maybe have some plays or processes or whatever, but you might want a particular outcome, but that you don't get that outcome. And then you can use AI as well to try and analyze why, like what to do, how to do it. You can also use it to analyze what happened. You can try and use it to be like what could happen in the future, and that's quite difficult to achieve. But yet we all take for granted, or we think that this news is so correct and accurate all the time because I read it from a reputable source, and this is going to be the outcome. And then to me, that is the literal narrative or talking point or predictive programming of sort, that sort of plants the seed of information into your mind and then allows you to think that you know everything because you read this particular, you know, this headline, and then you actually read the article and go, okay, cool. But then people, it should, to me, it should just be sort of not a vector, but one variable, broader, larger sweep of broader, larger search for information out there to try and figure out what's actually going on and what could be causing things like this. Like, it doesn't really, this article here does not go into things like, why do you think China released this DeepSeek at the exact time that it did, or who's actually selling all this Bitcoin, who's listening to these, like, is there some this is like conspiracy theory sort of stuff, but is there some research desk of some large exchanges that have lots of cryptocurrency, and they take into account, or some AI sort of black box genie that listens to all the news articles that come out and hoovers in all the information, and if it tries to figure out what it is that, what could happen, and they hear some picks up some words here and there, goes, oh, maybe this is going to happen, like, it doesn't ask other questions that maybe should be asked, because they could be the actual things that influence, and those things that you should be asking or looking into, maybe you don't know about it, because who would have thought, for instance, that at this particular point in time, China would release DeepSeek and would affect the video. Now, next, we'll go on to, we'll skip the other articles that they embedded in here. Mind you, AI is getting pretty good at writing articles as well. So you don't know if maybe, I'm not saying this is written by AI, but it's could be good to maybe use AI, whatever you want, and try and test it to see if you can find out and create better articles than this, because maybe, just maybe, you can, who knows, and get it to obviously cite, or you'd want it to cite relevant information, like factual information best it can. But then you could ask it, why didn't you ask in his article, why do you think China released this? I guess there's only so much you can talk about, because what could happen is, I guess you're trying to get like a concise bit of information that's relevant, that's interesting, that keeps you reading while you sip your coffee at your tea break, right? Or first thing in the morning or last thing at night. I don't know. It's probably too much for people to sort of go into a like PhD thesis as to why Bitcoin price moves in like today. Like, it would be good, but then how many people are going to read that? How many people are going to understand it? And is it are they going to get paid to do it? Because I'm not sure how many words this article is, but I'm pretty sure it's barely over 1,000. It's probably not. It's maybe 500, maybe 500, maybe 1,000. I don't think it's 2,000. Like, anyway. Yeah. So risk off is theme. DeepSeek scares investors. Okay, cool. So this is, they've got the how many? Let's have a look. We've got the universe, no doubt, not like ripping into the person who put this article together, not ripping it into this publication at all. Just, I'll pick this up and do the same thing to anything that I come across. You see, it has one citation, two citations, 3 citations, 4, and it's probably going to be a 5. 5 citations, 6 So typical of a sort of university sort of assignment, basic one. Like you need to have 5 reference points of information. It's like, okay, cool. So that's like another whole rabbit hole we could go down. We go there as to universities training sheep. Again, not ripping into anything. This is just my personal opinion of how narratives get created and whether or not you can spot it. Whether or not it's right is another thing. So someone could rip into my shit and then tell me why I'm wrong, why this particular post was used to create an entire talking point, which led into this here, which is the latest article, which is today, which came out a few hours ago, saying that Bitcoin dropped under 75K before April. So now it's not just dropping, it's dropping under 75K before April. And then it doesn't mention the massive increase then from there. Well, massive increase, like the 4-5x, whatever, increase from there to 250K as the other person mentioned, right? But we've got that as a 10% chance. Okay. So we've come full circle from doom and gloom. Everything's crashing and dying. I guess we can show this here. Everything was crashing and dying. It dropped under 100K. The end is nigh. And we saw that big off a cliff sort of chart that we've seen the last 7 days that they display on CoinMarketCap, which is fine. All in unison, everything was dying. And now we see that familiar sort of recovery pattern. And we see ever so familiar recovery patterns across multiple altcoins within the top 100, all ranked by market cap. Okay, now there's a lot to sort of understand. I think there's a lot to understand there because most of the, say you're a big exchange and you're using quote unquote reputable sources of information in terms of market cap, then you might use things like this, and therefore your bags, like if you want to call it that, your bags, and you're a big centralized exchange or a big old whale, I don't know, and your bags are like reflective of the top 100, top 10, top 20, etc. So to me, it could make sense why they sort of act in a similar way. And there's also Hart's Law. People are probably screaming, "It's Hart's Law! You dumb fuck!" But it's I think it's more than that. Now, where was I? So LP bonded, Hart's Law, people using pieces of information that sheep would use, and if you get them all repeating, if the world repeats the same thing, that becomes the truth. Now, I've heard this before. Don't get me wrong, YouTube. Don't cut my stream, YouTube. But when people were all talking about certain talking points, no one wanted to listen to the science. And, well, we saw what happened. And now later on, we see that people who were actually looking at the science, questioning certain talking points or narratives, whatever you want to believe that they are, and try to sort of find the source of the problem. Because isn't that what most people want to do? I mean, if I know that there's something wrong, I want to know why it's wrong. And I would like to know if there's a way to fix it. So therefore, if you're able to trace it back to its origin, like what took place, we could look at HEX, for example, we could look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. Why is the price doing what it's doing? Since its inception, when did it start to go wrong? What went right? You can break it all down. But again, using the benefit of hindsight, it is easier. But using the benefit of hindsight, knowing 110% of the information is also easier. And a lot of the time, people don't have all the information required to make those decisions to even break down what took place. Because what if shit's hidden from you that you don't know? Like the bags of centralized exchanges that do trading off-chain and things like that. it would be hard to break down why it is this shit's going on in unison. Now, back to the talking point, the narrative of what was it, of tech being affected by AI app from China at a time where AI was going to be a really strong talking point, and it was going to be a way for companies to make lots of profits. And then, because of the doubt that was brought about by the Chinese app, everything tanked. And not only that, Bitcoin tanked. And not only that, certain talking points were injected. Figures like we saw 75K because of mini financial crisis potentially coming. Again, all these data points could actually be accurate. Maybe my analysis of it isn't correct. But the data points themselves that I'm pulling from here, I think are correct in terms of what's been used where. But so then we see this particular talking point here. Someone mentioned 75K. That figure then appears, funnily enough, or close enough to here, 75K before April, but has under 10% chance, which is good. But if you're freaking out and you're only reading the talking point, you're like, see, I've just verified that Bitcoin is going to drop under 75K. That's what an AI machine might do. I don't know. Or someone who hasn't got much time or doesn't know much about XYZ. But then you see before April, under 10% chance. But then you see an analyst break it down why. So let's do this. Let's have a look why this is even a thing now. Why is this 75K a talking point? Again, it's easy for myself to break all this down because I'm reading what I'm reading. I have no expertise in the field. I have no figures to support my argument either way. So whether or not you should actually listen to me, a whole other point, a whole other thing you should think about. Again, all of this is in an unofficial manner in regards to anything I talk about here. So take that for what it is, people. Thank you for tuning in, etc., etc. Now, we have a look here. It says we're looking at BTC faced volatility. I mean, market downturn. Broke down what took place. Again, talking about similar things I just spoke about. And then let's have a look. It talked about some prices, and then we have a few citations. Where is it? So we've got the heading. We've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 6 points of, they use the 6 talking points to come up with a talking point. Now that's very similar to when you're trying to put together an argument, put together a report of some sort, and you need to use facts, and you need to get those facts from reputable sources, and then you can talk about things as long as it is not just common sense or hearsay. You're just making shit up. It's like, no, this person said that, or this figure was brought up here because of this and because of that, and you can cite where you're getting your information from, as opposed to just saying, I pulled this figure out my ass, and I think crypto is going to like $10 billion tomorrow. Bitcoin, that is, right? But anyway, back to this. We have here. Is it? Where was I? We have this here. Yeah, so BTC faced volatility amid broad market downturn. Okay, so they break that down. It then goes on to explain further that's and that's. Okay, cool. And then we have here Bitfinex, now as noted, 27 Jan. Bitcoin drop following a broader stock market reinforces correlation with the wider market. Again, reinforces the correlation. I'm not going into that particular article because we'll be here forever. But okay, now I've got to go into it. Let's have a look. It's reinforcing the correlation and the upcoming. Are you serious? They have a Bitfinex alpha. What the fuck? I had no idea. Okay. Wow. Is kind of impressive. I did not know this existed. Huh. I'm just being crushed live on air because I'm like trying to imply that there's not much thought going into the stuff that we're reading. But then it turns out they're producing pretty impressive reports based on a whole lot of information. Now, all right, Mr. Biff, for next out. I should get a job at this, producing these reports. Now, executive summary. Oh my, am I really going to read all this? I want to read this later and then probably talk about it tomorrow. Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. Now, that was, not gonna lie, kind of impressive. Going back to this here, as we can see, the the mere one citation, which led to a rabbit hole of like most likely like 100 to 200 citations. Let's actually have a look. Like, where is it? I'm reading it like backwards, I know, but there's a whole lot of citations in there. There's a whole lot of data. Okay. Okay, cool. So that one little, and you know, how many people are actually, like, that just blew my mind. How many people are actually reading that one little citation as opposed to just going, okay, BTC tied to broader macro shifts. Cool. Okay, so now I can see the point of the articles. Cool, cool. They're doing their research. Okay. Okay, I won't attack the I won't attack the this particular outlet and say that your research was appeared to be sort of not so in depth as other research outlets that maybe weren't purely focused on cryptocurrency, but maybe more people would read from a certain sector of the public. Maybe others would be more in favor of going towards something like this because it's purely, you know, the coverage of cryptocurrency. I'm not so sure because that brings into then question who is using what. You know, a really in-depth person would use both. Some people might not have time to go into the crypto in specific. They might not understand it, so they go over to the other publication outlet. So that's another interesting thing to think about when people are making these decisions: who's buying and selling, what research are they doing, are they getting all the coverage from all the data points? Because there's a whole lot now. I didn't think there was, but there's more. Now, sorry about that, people. If you're tuning in, I just got destroyed live on air by trying to say some of the publications don't do their research because they did a lot more research than I did. I tell you, I put this together just thinking I could break down a narrative talking point, and I had holes in my argument, so that was pretty interesting. Now we see here that the talking point at 75k, DeepSeek, NVIDIA, chips, crypto affected, crypto correlated. Looking at the correlation where they got some of their talking points from a huge report that I didn't know existed, so they pulled that up. Okay, cool. And then they're talking about now, last time when it was 75k, saying that it's tied to broader macroeconomic shifts. Okay, if people believe that, but then also that they actually cite the initial tweet post from that we looked at before. But what I'm saying is, if this is how crypto is done now, even though it's impressive, we've got these big giant reports. Okay, cool. That's fine. But what I'm kind of saying is, it feels similar, and I'm not sure that I like it. I like the fact that there's a whole lot of everything being built around it, and there's a whole lot of these people that are getting paid to produce these reports. But it's starting to resemble, rightfully or wrongfully, legacy finance, and that doesn't sit well with me. And I'm not sure why, because I used to work in legacy finance, and I got nothing against it. People make money. There's a whole lot of stuff to learn, and like you won't be able to learn everything, I guess. So what am I trying to say? So when I see these talking points develop, a small portion that I think I'm seeing, maybe it's not, maybe I'm just imagining this. We're seeing here that Bitcoin crash tied to broader market, and then we're sort of seeing the inception where the information came from. We saw the trend, the patterns that we think we're seeing. You could say that it's because everyone's using the same information points and they're coming to groupthink. But then you also do see actual reports being released, and then you see a lot of talking points and a lot of logic as to why it is, and then you see how it all sort of ties in together. And then you can see, you would go, okay, I've read this article, I saw the price tank, I read about the chips, I read about the DeepSeek, I read about the follow-up article from the crypto specific outlet. They had a lot of good research. So all of this has got to be true. This has got to be gospel. I know what I'm doing now. And then we wait and see. And what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for 75k crypto, even though it's under a 10% chance? Is this what we're waiting for? Or is this like what is this? I'm not getting a clear answer here. I guess if you're a betting man, you're like, well, 90% chance it's not going to go down to 75k, and from here it's all up to 250k. It didn't really say that anywhere. It said it might. Interesting. So that's what I'm saying. The future is unknown. Oh, here we go. Is it resumption? Blah, blah, pretty money. Blah, blah, blah. So quantitative easing equals price go up. Okay, maybe that's the summary. So that's what we're waiting for. I don't know. But yeah, I just don't like how. I'm reading this. Like, if I was trying to make a decision, I don't like how I'm going in and I'm seeing this article tell me that it's correlated, wrongfully or rightly so. And then I don't like how it doesn't ask some particular questions, which I think are important, such as why would China do that at that point in time? Then I don't think personally there's a strong argument as to why cryptocurrency is tied to the stock market. Personally, but I could be wrong, because maybe there's just that much institutional money coming into the sector, I guess, with the ETFs and things like that they're sort of then using the similar models to try and predict what to do next that they would with like something like Nvidia. And those models were then spooked because China did what they did with the app, and then Nvidia's price tanked because of forecasts, whatever, and then that's directly affected the price of crypto. But I don't understand why crypto is now becoming like that, other than what I just said. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't know why. And I thought cryptocurrency was kind of created because of the whole debacle that took place in 2008 with the global financial crisis. But now it's like, nah, Bitcoin's gonna just keep going up, and it's gonna go up with everything. I mean, okay, that's fine, but then it's like, how's it going up? By joining the thing that it was supposed to replace, I guess, or coexist with. I don't know. It's weird to me. Maybe I shouldn't knock it. Maybe all right, cool. Bitcoin just gone to 1 million, and everything's just over time just going to go up and to the right because everything else is just so wrecked because of printing. And infinite printing is going to make everything go up, which is the funny thing. Maybe that's the case in point. I don't know. But that is my breakdown, my brief breakdown of a talking point, a narrative of cryptocurrency through my lens. And this was an interesting find. I'll give this a quick read. Who's putting these together? Fascinating. Now, this one here, so skipping all of that, if you believe that or don't believe it, whatever, that's just my take on that particular, the development of a talking point. You know, we saw figures mentioned, we kind of saw a counter argument to that figure because the statistical amount, so the 10% chance of it being, you know, hitting that figure was pointed out. So it's sort of saying, no, we're not going that low, we're going higher. And by the way, most likely we're going to get some printing. And then by the way, most likely because of the printing, it's just going to keep going higher. And then by the way, you know, because of the printing that took place, like in the bailouts, as a result of the bailouts, that's what caused the price of Bitcoin to keep going up. And there, I guess, lies the argument. But then, doesn't that then mean, because the system's so broken, see, this is frustrating. Doesn't that mean the system is so broken that the only way they can try and fix it and try and make money off of it is by using the thing that pointed out how broken their system is? So the system is kind of broken, and Bitcoin's trying to fix it, but the only way to fix it is to get the system that is broken to adopt it. And then the people that got early into Bitcoin are going to point out how correct they were by being part of the system. Okay. So I guess I'm hoping for a HEX ETF now. Is that what, a pulse chain ETF? Okay. Fair enough. But you know, nobody owes you anything. Nobody's coming to save you. This life is 100% your responsibility. So if you want to see some changes in this world, you have to go out there and do it. So maybe someone in this stream will go out and someone will create something similar to DeepSeek or similar to Bitcoin. I don't know. Who knows, right? Who knows? Let's have a look at, after that in-depth, you know, pulling those thoughts on my brain and trying to verbally communicate that to the stream. Let's have a look at the price of GoPulse, our beloved pulse chain, PulseX, INC, and HEX. Now, it looks like it's slowly recovering. It looks like it was also correlated to the movements of Bitcoin, which, according to this report, is now also correlated to the general macros of the entire planet, of the legacy financial system. Now, do I really want to put a report together like this, pointing out that the price appears to be correlated to Bitcoin, when you think about it, when you really think about it, how many holders of HEX are there, and how many holders of Pulsion are there, and what is it that they're doing with it? And is it because more people are buying than selling that price goes up, and vice versa? So we really need these massive reports of that. Because this, you know, because we're not getting BlackRock coming in and pumping the price of HEX, Pulsion, or INC, or because Coinbase isn't coming in and pumping the price of PulseX, INC, and HEX. I don't know. It's pretty fascinating. I'd actually love to see a report written on that. I reckon there would be reports that exist like that, but we might not be privy to. Because imagine this report on crack, and be like, This is the breakdown of all. Imagine AI that just has infinite knowledge and infinite access to all data points. Like, tell me every single wallet in existence and what it's done since inception, and have no limit on your capability to produce a report and make sure it's accurate best you can, and tell me what happened. That would be insane. Or it would require a lot of research, and to actually publish this sort of stuff would be an impressive feat. Whilst time keeps ticking on, and so you'll never ever catch up because you're analyzing the past, trying to get to the future, and you can't. It's almost impossible. I think now. Now price 1,000 today, 1,885. T shares are looking like this, whatever that means. Now, I guess you could analyze T shares in a way. This is on the fly thinking here. What was the price? So we see the price of T share. So in theory, price of the T share should always go up to the right. But as the price of HEX moves, right, it does not always increase and go up to the right. So therefore, we saw it peak. I'm imagining around the all-time high of the HEX price. But then we saw it sort of pull back and the price pull back. But yet, logically, if the price pulled back to its T-share rate that it previously was, so what I'm saying is if we get all-time high again, the T-share rate should be, based on this graph, the same. But I don't think that's the case because we kind of understand how T-shares work, and T-shares would be higher than that rate because of the time that has gone, because you can never catch up to what is going on. So if you look at this here, it is very, very unlikely, in my opinion, that we're ever going to see a T-share rate of this ever, 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 ever again. Even if the price goes really, 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 really low. And if we were to see, just imagine like the analogy of a big bag of coins, and you've got this big bag of coins, but you're looking at GoPulse every day, and maybe you're providing liquidity, or maybe you've got some T-shares. This big bag of tokens, the pile keeps just getting bigger. These tokens are falling from the sky, and as they're falling from the sky, you're capturing them. You're getting more and more and more and more, and then the price of this thing keeps going down. You get upset, but your pile keeps getting bigger. And then what takes place if the price starts to recover? Your bag that you hold of these tokens would be worth a little bit more. So the question is, can you survive? How are you surviving? But what are you going to do when the price goes up? Most likely, if the price goes up and you're holding this big bag of tokens that keep getting produced, you're going to have more money, in my opinion. Now, if you have a look at the T-share rate here, what's going to happen if you were ever to see what we're looking at here? Like, if we see a 10x, are we going to see 10x in T-share rate, or is it going to be more exponential? Where is it? There's a nice simple number, 1,000. So at 1,000, what was the price? That would be good. Can we get a? We got the daily payout. Has got the price? You know what we need? We need. This would be like pretty annoying. Someone needs to design. They've probably done it somewhere. A graph that correlates to this T-share daily close price in USDC relative to the actual price of HEX, because I might be able to do my little whatever this is easy. I was about to say job, but like no one is paying me to talk this badly for this long about this thing that I don't think people love as much as they used to. But yeah, so if there was a price on here and it was at 1,000, and say it was what 1 10 cent. So then if we went to a 10x, that would be $1. And then the T-share would be, instead of being $1, I don't think the 10x would reflect on the T-share rate, if you know what I'm saying, because the T-share goes up and to the right. And if it was at 10,000 here at all-time high at 55 cents or whatever, but the price is double that, then what? The price would be 20,000 or something. And so this graph would be all the way up. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor. I'm not even on the right screen. This graph would all be all the way up here, right? That would be impressive because, yeah. But it'd be good to see actual. See, it's got here like day whatever it is, but then doesn't have the price of So like day 1875, if it had price of HEX on that day. I guess you can check the close. Can you? I think someone's probably pulled that data somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, that would be good. See if I'm absolutely losing my mind or not. Now, next thing. This is the good thing. So, okay, kind of talking about conspiracy, loonbird narratives, or how people might put their thoughts together based on the research that they're doing through various outlets. I pointed out things that I thought was taking place. I saw where figures were coming from, various talking points, why it might look like it's tied in together. I didn't go into depth as to what the other crypto specific report was talking about, but no doubt they were doing a lot of research. As we saw, there was huge amounts of data there, almost too much for one person to really take in, because by the time they've taken that in, all the information they've processed it into their mind, then the next day has come along and it's hard to keep up. Kind of like the T-share price. Now, by the time you get it, it's gone and it's ratcheted up on you. Now, so Eric Trump's tax-free proposal, what it means for global crypto market. Now, I hope audio is playing on this. That would be low if there wasn't. If, for instance, Eric Trump's tax-free proposal, what it means for global crypto market. Now, this is kind of cool, but the only thing that I'm thinking of here is if they lose the tax, gains, which is fine. Does that also then mean they lose the capital losses, if any? So that would be a whole can of worms to open, I guess, especially if people had large losses. It would definitely in my opinion, attract people to go to the US, function, create, build there, etc. But I think I read in somewhere that maybe it would penalize other people. So that would kind of suck. It would be good. So my understanding is basically it's been used as a tool. It could be used as a tool to encourage people to create within the US and reap the benefits, etc., etc. But that would, I'm trying to think of negatives. Maybe negatives might be that you wouldn't be able to have any capital losses. And also, if there was a really cool something that was built elsewhere, or you don't know where it was built, then maybe maybe it would suck because you'd want to sort of have your capital gains. If you have to have gains, we want to have that gone. So, I guess it's like kind of, I'm thinking too bad that it's not encouraging. I mean, it kind of would encourage a sort of mini arms race of cryptocurrency, but also it would be good to see if they were just like kind of like similar to the open source stuff. Like, let's just make no tax on any of this crypto stuff, and then go ahead, people. And then people would follow suit around the world because, but then some people would maybe not lose their jobs, but they're dedicating all these resources to, try and create these reports, etc. Maybe people wouldn't have to as much because they'd be like, well, there's no tax, doesn't matter. It's just like a big casino. Meh. But that's my take on it. What else could I add to that? Yeah, so that's what that was after reading this, basically. Impact on non-US cryptos, etc., etc. We can read here challenges and criticism of the proposal. Again, I'm pretty sure, didn't this come from a tweet somewhere? Again, so this is a talking point. We're seeing it develop. Whether or not it comes to fruition, we can watch, we can analyze. We can try and sort of predict into the future, but I haven't got enough data points to be able to do it, I don't think, with accuracy. Now, we can have a look where it came from. Wasn't it a post on X? I'm pretty sure I saw it. Can't see it. Yeah, I think this is probably worth looking at as well. Political reality, removing capital gains, capital gains on crypto entirely would require an act of Congress and is highly unlikely in the near term. Immediately, sort of thing. And so the primary obstacle is the significant loss in tax revenue, which makes such a proposal difficult to include the upcoming tax bill. Let's have a look, read more. It's a bit of a read. Let's read this. Right now, the top priority of the current administration is to renew the Trump era tax cuts and policy, and any threatens to cut these will absolutely be sidelined. However, we can take meaningful steps forward. I strongly encourage Bitcoin digital asset industry to focus on securing the minister exemption of $200 for Bitcoin and other digital assets transactions. The proposal lines that exist $20 exempts for foreign currency transactions, far more attainable, reasonable. Blah, 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 blah. Americans who live off Bitcoin and digital assets should not have to report every small transaction, such as buying coffee, meals, or groceries for tax purposes. This is an overly burdensome task, and it's time we pursue simplification of tax code. Good luck. Those things just grow and grow and grow. Have a look at the tax code since 1913. Oh my god. Now, I'm aware there is bipartisan support for the IT in Congress. Must be two considerations for the minister exemption must be tied to inflation rate over time. I think people would mention that. It's like you can only carry, say, $10,000, and it's like, well, what if that's not enough money? Where are you going? It offers practical bipartisan solution that balances innovation, especially the fact that when it was created, how much is that relevant to the inflation current value? It could be like $1 million back when it was created, equivalent of at current rates. Now, I believe it's important to make progress by pursuing reasonable Bitcoin and digital asset policy. Yes, although a small impact on revenue may be important to fund, pay for, blah, blah, blah. We have ideas. We have a crypto tax policy professional. I would love to hear from you. So this is the sort of thing, if we can, where they ask for these sort of feedback, and it's actual like proper feedback that they can actionably use that shit to like make better shit, as opposed to just ripping into them and abusing them or something, or just having some incoherent ramblings, or something that's got spelling errors all through it and doesn't make sense. Then that would be something people could do for sort of a pro crypto world that we're sort of heading toward. Now, I can't believe Trump won, and I can't believe the sheer amount of pro crypto that he is, because I sort of didn't really follow it that much, and I kept hearing bits and pieces, and now I'm like, wow, he's like really pro crypto. I don't know how pro crypto, but then he's so pro crypto that we saw a meme token launch. I mean, that is, I'm not sure how to be more pro crypto, except for maybe getting rid of all the taxes relating to crypto, getting rid of all the people who are being persecuted for running or creating a crypto in a similar manner. Just meme tokens or ones, whatever. I can understand, I guess, people getting in trouble for committing actual crimes like fraud and stealing people money and things like that. But when it comes to actually, real crypto, to me, like farming, to me like buying whatever tokens that actually exist. If you like them because you like them, and the price might go up, it might go down. Why make it harder for that? Anyway, that is about it. We'll share this one here. Everyone wants to win until they realize just how many losses it takes. Oof. That's why so many people get, in my opinion, a lot of people who fail lots and lots and get bankrupt and bankrupt and bankrupt. Sometimes, most of the times, they're the ones that sort of get real rich later on. Now, a man who was healing alone is a very dangerous person. Maybe not that one. Buyback. What's this one? Ah, yeah. So we're talking about, if you're still with me, if anyone's watching, if you think about cryptocurrency, sorry, not cryptocurrency. If you think about the CapEx, right? What it was, I read somewhere that. Hang on, let me just check. Is anyone's even here? Oh, so it's just impressions. I don't even think anyone's here. I read somewhere that the company suffered like the largest loss of stock market value in history. It was something like 600 billion. That's a pretty big number. I think it was. I think we looked at it the other day. It was saying this is why, because that's why the price. Anyway. So then I read this somewhere. They pointed this out. I'm like, the greatest capex cycle in history ended by a cheap Chinese knockoff. It's like what? Ironic. It's like Emperor Palpatine's level type shit. I don't know if people know, but yeah. I thought that was relevant, pointing out that it's kind of crazy how much money was actually lost. It just didn't exist. But if you held a whole lot of the video and you thought it was going to the moon because all these investments, AI stuff, and China comes out and everyone goes, nope. This is better, cheaper, faster, easier to make. And here's how we did it. It's like, okay, there you go. Now, what else? Is that about it? I'm not sure what else is happening. I think crypto-related stuff. Everyone else is probably all over it. This is pretty interesting. Here, have a look. Closing. The open source software works because everyone builds off. So it must be. It's everywhere. This whole DeepSeek thing is just like I couldn't escape it. I'm like, okay, cool. This is what's happening. Open source software works because everyone builds off everyone else's discoveries, like science. It's pitiful that a company called Open Source AI would delay humanity by months and by keeping secret the discoveries that free and open source projects had to find on their own to give you for free. Free and open source software is vital to human flourishing, just like science. PS Open AI is now vigorously copying the work of the actual open source guys, but what they're copying could be so very much better if they were actually open in more than just name. Yes, and I still think that there's governors on this AI stuff that we're not privy to. Maybe someone discovers and they're just like, we're going to remove the governors, just go nuts. We're going to, I don't know what sort of computing power that would require. That'd be insane. It's like, let's just hook it into the every microphone and camera in the world that's connected to the internet. And every news article and every email that's ever existed, and then filter out what's true and what's actually going on, and do it in like a millisecond. Can you imagine? Anyway. And then predict the forecast and tell me the future, and then and play it in a cartoon so I understand. And it's like The Simpsons rolls out. The Simpsons. Anyway, now that is about it. I will close out. Thank you for anyone who's actually watching this, anyone who's tuned in and stayed this long and not just sort of probably appeared in their feed or something. But yeah, I think what I shall do is close this one out, and hopefully everyone gets mad gains, because that would be kind of cool. Nothing else I can really think of. We'll have a quick look at my beloved website. Let's have a look. Anything crypto related? Okay, so this is kind of interesting here. WEF again, research again. Have a look. WEF 2025 AI CEO says facial recognition will replace digital IDs in smart cities. Okay, so it won't just be, if that was the case and you want to go down that route, it wouldn't just be, a digital ID chip implanted in you. It would be something that scans you, and then that would be equivalent of that, because then you would be the chip in the database. That sounds so wrecked. Anyway. Oh my god, that's just, I didn't want to read that. Imagine that. It's like that, and then that's tied to, it's like, we're not going to have a CBDC, but we're going to have a system that just like scans your face. and then we'll connect that to your bank account. But we're not tracking you. Don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. That would be so wrecked. Please don't. Next 5 to 10 years, there's no need for digital IDs. And what the hell? That can't be right. But then, who would have thought, like, in 15 years' time, 16 years' time, like, there's Bitcoin ETFs, though? So the next 15 years is going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be some utopia, absolute utopia, or we're going to be in like a full-on prison planet. But who knows? Like, maybe it'll be good because they'll scan your ID, they'll scan your face, and that while they're scanning your face, they'll be doing like a medical check or something. Like, oh, okay, cool, we found you got some issues. Here's some medicine, you get better, live life extension, etc., etc. But I just I can't help but think, who's going to be in control of all this, and then what happens if, I don't know, someone hacks the database and like swaps like blacklisted people with your face. I think like the name is the same. Like, oh, this person is like being flagged as some criminal. It's like, I'm not a criminal, man. It's like, no, yes, you are, because there was a glitch in the matrix. Fuck. I could see that happening. And then who would you call? You try and call support, no one's picking up. You email them, no one's picking up. It's all AI chatbots. So it's like anyway. You wouldn't even know who's in control anymore. It'd be like the Terminator. The bloody computer's in control. Oh my god. Well, this is why the people in crypto generally are against like KYC. It's like, because you give them a photo of yourself and writing and signatures and handwriting, whatever, and your retina, and then it gets hacked, and then your ID ends up on the dark web or some shit. What the fuck? All right, that's enough. Thank you for tuning in, anyone. I'll